welcome to the home of the nearly 3,000 members, and that's teachers, paraprofessionals, and technical clerical workers of the Pittsburgh Public Schools and the Pittsburgh Mount Oliver Intermediate Unit. Welcome to our home. Wow, what a crowd. We are so happy to have you here. What a group. You know what I want you to know? I have the best job in the absolute world because I get to work with the best educators around. I get to work with the best, I get to see them every day, and a lot of the best students in the world. And you know what? We're all about evidence in the Pittsburgh Public Schools, and I'm going to share that evidence with you. And you'll get to see it today by some of the great and talented teachers we have, and some of the terrific and talented students we have too. So you're in for a big treat on a lot of levels. You already got to hear our Saul Straussman up on the balcony. So you were great, Saul. Thank you, executive board member. Where are you, Saul? There, don't hide. There you are. So we are so happy to have you here, and what a way to kick it off. We have all kind of terrific guests for you here, but I'm going to turn it over first of all to one of our terrific teachers, one of our finest, and I could bring them up here one by one, all 3,000, but I'm going to turn it over to a great representative, a great member of our executive board, a Spanish teacher at Westinghouse High School. He is terrific. Let's bring him out here. Westinghouse High School, a bulldog. Do we have any bulldogs out there? Rob, oh, I see some. Rob Mitchell. Rob Mitchell. Bring him on out.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. As you heard, my name is Rob Mitchell. I've been teaching Spanish here in Pittsburgh for about 28 years. And from the start, I've been a proud card-carrying member of the Pittsburgh Federation of Teachers. This is my union home, and I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you and also to share the stage with so many distinguished individuals. Estoy lleno de orgullo e intención. I am filled with pride and purpose. Together with my fellow union family members, I've been out walking, knocking doors, making calls, talking about how important this upcoming election is. Because you know what? We all work hard every day and night, and many times into the weekend. And we deserve leaders who work as hard as we do, who stand with us, and who stand for us to protect what we cherish most. We deserve elected officials who protect our democracy, who invest in public schools. So thank you, Lindsey Williams and Summerlee, for all you do. And we deserve candidates who will protect our voting rights and who prioritize making health care and college more affordable. Thank you, Chris DeLuzio and Mandy Steele as well. We need leaders who will work to build our economy with working people at the forefront of their mind. Leaders who protect our right to bargain collectively and earn a living wage. Thank you, Arvin Venkat and Austin Davis and Josh Shapiro, and thank you, John Fetterman, who's campaigning elsewhere today. I want to thank all of them, standing tall while so many others are going low. We've got less than a week before Election Day, and it's time for action. So we need to rally every single one of our family members, our friends, our colleagues, to make a voting plan, to mail in their ballots today, and to make sure that they make it to the polling place and get their votes counted on Tuesday. There's so much at stake. Let's multiply our efforts and get Austin Davis and Josh Shapiro into office. Let's do everything we can to make sure Lindsey Williams and Summer Lee and Chris DeLuzio and Mandy Steele and Arvind Venkat and John Fetterman win. Because if they win, we win. That's right. And Pennsylvania wins. America wins. Thank you so much. And now it's my honor to introduce the next speaker. She's our steadfast leader, our fearless fighter for students, our members, and our communities. She's been touring the country to make sure that everyone in the country knows how important this election is. And it's my privilege to officially welcome her to Pittsburgh. So please join me in welcoming our leader, AFT President Randi Weingarten.
Guess what? I get to introduce one of my favorite people, meaning that is my favorite people other than the Pittsburgh Federation of Teachers. Of course, I'm in Nina's house. Thank you. I'm taking, no, stay up here with us. I'm taking you with us, Robert, every single day, and maybe you can teach me a little Spanish.
Oh, I love that.
Sí. So look, we are 6 days out. You can count them. Tomorrow you can count them on one hand. And this is, I've been in Pittsburgh a lot before elections, but I don't know one that has and is more consequential than this one. And it's for a lot of the reasons that Rob just said and that Nina just said earlier today and that you know. But one of them is because of what's happening right now in terms of Pittsburgh. And I do want to just shout out the members of the media that are here today, especially the staff of the Pittsburgh Union Progress. And I'm shouting them out because they have created a paper, a strike paper, of reporters and photographers and production staff who are on strike right now from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. So, and the reason I start with them is because I've been humming that old Union ballad, "Which side are you on? Which side are you on?" And I get to introduce a special teacher in a minute who is on our side, as is her husband, by the way, who's the President of the United States. As is Josh Shapiro and John Fetterman and Chris and Lindsay and Summer and Arvind and Mandy, who are on our side. And what do I think about, what do I mean by that? Who's on the side of families who are struggling to afford life's necessities, who have, through the Inflation Reduction Act, lowered the cost of prescription drugs, lowered the cost of health care premiums, found a way to make sure through the American Rescue Act that we had money for schools in Pittsburgh and in Pennsylvania this last 2 years. Who's on the side of that kind of investment in schools, in kids, in families? Who's on the side of kids being able to read books? Books like The Diary of Anne Frank, books about Ruby Bridges. Why would anybody try to ban a book like The Diary of Anne Frank or a book about Ruby Bridges? We need all kids to have the empathy that those books bring and show. And that's why we're giving out books as they're trying to ban books. We were just talking about some of the school boards and the struggles that some of us are having in the environs of Pittsburgh. Who's protecting our freedoms? Look, my grandkids, they're 2.5 and 6. They have less freedom than I had, and I have now. And I was the first out gay person as a leader of a union in the United States of America. And they now have less freedom than I've had in the last 30 years because of what the Supreme Court just did. Who's protecting our freedoms? Who's on our side? And then on the democracy and on the economy, who's on our side? Trying to make sure we save Social Security and Medicare. Trying to make sure we have the loan forgiveness that Joe Biden just did. Look what they did. The other side tried to stop it. And this is the one that really gets me, The oil companies just showed us their profits. $210 billion, actually $230 billion in the first 3 quarters of this year. The Democrats tried to stop this gouging. Joe Biden tried to stop this gouging. Why are they making this much money instead of plowing it into lowering gas prices for consumers? But they don't solve problems. They just stoke resentment and fear. They just use our kids as political pawns in culture wars. And with every piece of division, they take a knife to our democracy. So we're really close. These elections are really close. And that's where we come in. If we believe in their future, we gotta vote. If we believe in our families' futures, we gotta vote. And Pittsburgh, everybody who's here, you're all gonna vote. I know you're all gonna vote. You wouldn't be here right after school, or already did. So this is our job. This is our lesson plan. This is our goal right now. Look at that list of all your friends, even the people you haven't talked to in a long time, the people you used to go to church with, but you don't go to church with now anymore, synagogue. I won't even go to the people who you may have been married to. Look, you heard it before. There's people who are on our side trying to solve problems, and there's people who are problem makers. It's up to us to get the vote out. Everybody we know. If we believe in democracy, if we believe in freedom, if we believe in public education, if we believe that working families have a right to a union, if we believe in driving down prices and driving up wages, if we believe in government working, we got to get people out to vote. Because what we need are people like our special guest and her husband. Now, I'm sure you have heard President Biden introduce himself in front of a room of educators as well as elsewhere, and it goes something like, "My name is Joe Biden, and I'm Joe Biden's husband." Now, I'm not introducing her that way. Dr. Biden, Dr. B, as we know her, as First Lady, has been, frankly, a sea change from the last First Lady. Just saying. For her humanity, for her decency, for her competence, for science, for inclusion, for our kids, our schools, our communities, and yes, for our members. And every day, and I know this because I was there in the White House when they invited us, the first day they were there. They hadn't unpacked. We have an ally in the White House, a person who literally has been grading papers in the residence. Somebody who knows what it's like to be on the phone late at night with a single parent who also happens to be her student trying to finish an assignment. Somebody who's been an instructor, not just at the whiteboard, but at the blackboard, coaxing the answers out of a class. There's just no substitute for that kind of understanding. But this is what I know about Dr. B. Compassion, care, determination, and drive. She lives the values of America every single day, bringing people together, raising them up. It's my honor to introduce Dr. Jill Button.
Hello. Hi, how are you? Thank you very much. Thank you. Before I begin, I want to go over and say thank you to the teachers for bringing your students so they can see democracy at work. And Randi, thank you, because you always show up when you're needed over and over again. And you stand up for our children and their teachers. We educators do this work for our students, and Randi, for your leadership, for your friendship, Joe and I are grateful. Thank you. And Robert, where did Robert? There he is. When I was reading about you, I learned about how you mentor other students, which speaks right to my heart. I love that you do that. And I totally agree that mentorship is so critical. Your students, fellow educators, and this union are fortunate to have a teacher like you. Thanks, Robert. And we're grateful to have the PFT and the AFL-CIO leaders with us today. Darren and Nina, you deliver for members across Pittsburgh and the entire Commonwealth again and again. I don't know, you guys, you just got out of your classrooms and you have a lot of energy. My husband, Joe, ran for president to fight for workers. He understands that unions built the middle class. You've seen it right here in Pittsburgh, that when people have the chance to work hard and use their collective voice, we can build a brighter future for everyone. I've been a union member for many years, and I'm so proud to stand with you. Not only our teachers, but our nurses and our bus drivers and the women and men who are making America union strong every day. You know, one of the things that I love most about educators is that we aren't just dreamers, we are doers. When our lessons don't go according to plan, we find another way to make it work. And when our students are struggling, we help. And the results are the lives we change. Right now, someone out there is a better thinker because of you. Someone is standing a little taller because you helped her find the confidence that she needed. Someone is working a little harder because you pushed him to try. And someone is kinder because you showed her what that meant. And someone is braver because you helped him find his courage. And we aren't just doers in the classroom, are we? No. When our students come to class hungry, when our students need more support, when we see injustice and inequality, we speak up. We organize and we fight for the communities we care about, and we never give up. Right now, we're in the fight for the future of our country. Educators, you all helped elect my husband, Joe, and I'm grateful for that because he knows how to get things done. He's delivered results again and again, and he did it with just a slim majority in Congress. Imagine what he could do with a few more partners like Chris DeLuzio and Summer Lee. This election is a choice between two drastically visions for our future. In one, we elect Chris and Summer to Congress, and we're building on the historic progress that we've already made. And in the other, Republicans are ramping up their attacks on unions. They're putting Social Security and Medicaid on the chopping block and trying to pass a nationwide abortion ban. They're once again giving more tax cuts to large corporations and the wealthy. Right now, as Randi said, we are just 6 days away from election. And while every election is important, all of you know that in the midterms, it really could come down to just a handful of votes. Now, like a lot of educators, to stay organized, I use to-do lists. Don't many of you? So this election is going to be won or lost by where voting falls on your to-do list. So I want you to picture a working mom right here in Pittsburgh, and her list is long. She wakes up, she grabs her coffee, she takes out the laundry she did the night before, she takes it out of the dryer. Yeah, see, you know this. Just as her daughter starts asking her for clean socks, she spends her day jumping from meeting to meeting. And when 6 p.m. rolls around, she rushes to the drugstore to pick up a poster board for her son's project before she makes dinner. Yeah, a lot of you are shaking your head. We've all done this. But where is voting on that list? Working parents, students juggling school and jobs, seniors who may need a little more help. Will they be able to turn in their ballot? Will they be able to get to the polls? Or will voting be the thing that just doesn't get crossed off on their to-do list? This year, races up and down the ballot are going to be so close. And the only way we're going to win is by showing up and encouraging others to do the same, no matter how busy they are. So put voting on the top of your to-do list and help us make sure your fellow educators and friends and neighbors do the same. We all have that teacher voice that makes people stop what they're doing and pay attention. Well, now is the time to use it because this election is going to come down to those little moments. One ballot cast, one phone call to a neighbor who maybe forgot to vote, one ride offered to the polling place. Again and again, these small actions add up to something much bigger than anything we can do alone. It starts with you. It starts with all of us digging a little bit deeper, working a little bit harder, and believing that together, yes, we will win. AFT, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Wasn't that? Ooh, is she something? Wow, are we fortunate to have such a fabulous First Lady? She is first in so many things. And I've got to tell you, when I met President Biden last year, I love telling the story. I went up to him and I said, I've got to tell you, you're not my favorite Biden. And his response was, he went, you know what? I'm not my favorite Biden either. He was so delightful. Because then he said, you're a teacher, aren't you? I said, yeah, sorry. So she is so tremendous. I just adore her. But we have such a treat for you now, another treat. Well, so many treats today, because this is a group so wonderful. I told you we have fabulous teachers, and here's another one of our gems. What a gem. Gem. What a leader we have here. Oh my. Let me see. Oop, I have my wrong card. So we're going back to here. We want to welcome this terrific group. We have the most amazing students and amazing teachers, and this is one of the many examples of that fact. And I want to introduce, offer 1 to 36 of our best students, and we have 20,000 of them, from Pittsburgh, Allegheny, 4 to 5 grade chair ensemble, directed by a real gem of PPS teachers, Joe Stamera. Wow. I told you he was popular. Everybody loves him, and we can't wait to hear them. They brought the house down at our music program a couple weeks ago, so turn it over to you.
We know that education is the key to our future. All of us, students, teachers, administrators, families, communities, board members, and other civic leaders will take an active role in
Thomas. Mr. Stamera, you've outdone yourself again. One of our stars, and may I say, I want to recognize his student teacher, Jacob Berger, from Carnegie Mellon University. Soon I hope to be a Pittsburgh public school teacher and a PFT member there, Jacob. Let's not forget to sign that blue card. And the choir mom, Meg Van Dyke. We love our parents. Love that parent. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And we'll be hearing from them also, and from our jazz band also. All right, let's hear from our speakers too. We are so fortunate in Pittsburgh to have great teachers, great parents, great students, and you know what else? We have terrific union leaders. We have one right here with us that I'm so proud to serve as a vice president on the Allegheny County Labor Council. And I serve with a very dynamic, wonderful president who is relentless and tireless in fighting for our unions and union families. He supports us, unifies us. Hey, he reminds me of Randy. And reminds us each and every day what unions could and should be. Where is that Darren Kelly? Come on up here, President Darren Kelly.
I'll get up there, no problem. Here we go. You did an amazing job. Sister Nina, as always, an amazing job. PFT 400, it's no coincidence why we're always here. Thank you for everything you do and your commitment to this movement. To my sister Randi, welcome, as always. This is definitely not the first time we've shared these days before Election Day. You know, I came wound up to talk, the ice flying through the veins, until, kids, you put this all into perspective. This is what we fight for. We fight for your way of life. We're so proud of what you just did right there. Thank you so much. You make a difference. You really do. You really do. And I got to take one jab to my friend Rob. There was one thing, Nina, that you forgot to say, that you always say. I am a proud, what grad?
Pittsburgh Public Schools.
Alderdice grad. I'm a proud Alderdice Dragon. And you didn't think how many times I walked on the Bulldog. Many a times. But, you know, it brought up a lot of memories from great people like George Webb, that even though I played, ball of dice, everything we did in the regionals went through Westinghouse. So believe me, the generations go on and on. So let's go down a little bit of a memory lane, my friends. Anybody remember where we were 2 years ago tonight? Remember where we were? Where were we? Heinz Field. You remember that? Lady Gaga, get ready to come on stage. Remember that? John Mayer playing out in Philly. We made a pact that night as we strapped our boots on and get ready for the next day. We made a pact to take back our way of life. Do you remember that? To take back the evils of what Donald Trump did to this country. Here we are, 2 years later. Now it's time to protect it. We all know what we have to do. I know you're tired. I know you are. PFT is responsible for over 6,000 doors and phones. Just your group, your retirees. Our Labor Council wouldn't know what to do without you. So on behalf of all of our 100,000 Labor Council family, I say thank you for your commitment, because this is only one half of the great things you do. You raise our children, and we say thank you for your commitment. But I want you to think about something. Like I said, I know you're tired. But tomorrow, when we start more phone banking and we're doing our thing and we're going, and you're grabbing that phone and you're tired, I want you to think about what it would be like to have Doug Mastriano sign the budget, make 5 more phone calls for it, right? And at the same time, when you're knocking doors, and think about Dr. Oz having a vote on who goes on the next Supreme Court. Give me 10 more doors. You feel that inside? The days of debating policy are gone. That's gone. Used to be about politics. This is a situation between right and wrong, good and evil. We have to be able to stand up. You are not just labor's army. You are the army of those that can't speak, that don't have the power to stand up. You are it. You must embrace that. And, you know, when the First Lady was speaking, and it was amazing to see her, it really was, and she was so spot on so many things about some people on the right side of the aisle. Did anybody see when Kevin McCarthy was here rolling out his plan for working families in Pittsburgh? Had the courtesy or the audacity, I gotta watch I don't swear, the audacity to do this in the city of Pittsburgh. And I was in one of my moods. And weekly I said, yeah, you're damn right I called what you brought here a clown car. Where were you when the working people needed you? How dare you come here and talk about what America is? Where were you when a piece of legislation that would have put over 10 million people to work or continue union work all throughout this country, when the biggest public works projects since the New Deal, where were you? Not one. Where were you to protect union pensions? Not one vote. So why are we confusing ourselves? It's time to vote who protects our way of life. The men and women that are here, that are sitting with you, that will consistently fight these battles for you. So I'm asking you, my friends, I know you're tired. I know you're wore out. We all are. But you have the warrior soul in you for a reason. We rely on you to take care of our children. We'll rely on you to protect this democracy. Brothers and sisters, it's an honor to be here with you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Hey, is he terrific? Even with one leg, he's terrific. All right, and you know what keeps me going? I got to tell you, is the terrific lineup of candidates we have. I would do anything for them because we've got to get them in because they are fantastic. When I see those crazy ads calling Lindsay the most dangerous woman, come on, you don't, come on. I must laugh. I must say, I laugh because they are fantastic. So let's get them up here so you can hear from them. First of all, where's Mandy Steele? Where are you, Mandy? Get up here. When you hear the things she did in her kids' school, her own children's school, and the things she does for young ladies, fell in love with her the first time I met her. Mandy, we're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here with this group of strong Democrats. Feels good. Feels like a good place to be. What an honor to have our First Lady here. Oh, my gosh. And I want to say that I feel that President Biden has done us right in a lot of ways. And his steady, reasonable, calm leadership brought us back from the brink that we found ourselves in not too long ago. As a mother who is very, very concerned about the future of this planet, the stability of our planet, the future that these kids face on this planet, that groundbreaking act that he passed to incentivize clean energy is going to be a game changer. It's going to make sure, it's going to allow us to have a sustainable future and a successful future too. And guess what? In southwestern Pennsylvania, you know what an act like that means? It means we have the chance to restore our part of the state as the manufacturing capital of the world. We can get it done with that act that he passed. Create so many jobs, and really revitalize our economy in a big way. And now is our chance to do it. As Nina said, I'm a mom. I have 4 kids. They are 5, 7, 9, and 11. And they are all in public school. I understand the enormous value of a well-funded public school system intimately. I understand the enormous value of well-compensated teachers, well-resourced classrooms. I understand that this attack on public education funding in Harrisburg is potentially disastrous to the stability of this entire country. It is so foolish, and I look forward to getting to Harrisburg and helping Lindsay and the others fight to stop that, because it's got to stop. AFT stands with teachers. I stand with teachers. And so does our strong party. We're with you too, all the way. Thank you to Nina, the incredible leader of PFT, and to labor leader Darren for hobbling up on this stage as he always does. And thank you to so many of you for putting this incredible effort into these races, because when we win, it is going to be because of your effort, yours. It was a real boost to have our First Lady here with us in Pittsburgh, and I'm sure that we're going to do her proud on Tuesday. So let's get it done. Thank you all.
Thank you. Keeps me going, and something else that keeps me going. As soon as I met Dr. Arvind Venkat, I knew we had a winner and someone we had to get to Harrisburg, because he is someone who is so forward-thinking, clear-thinking, supportive of public education. Here he is, Dr. Arvind Venkat. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you, PFT. Following Dr. Biden is a hard task, and so I will keep it brief. My name is Arvind Venkat. I'm an ER doc, and I became an ER doc because I knew I was going to be able to care for anyone, no questions asked, and be a voice in our community for those who don't have a voice. But over the last few years, I've cringed every time someone has used the term healthcare hero, because I knew what I was getting into as an emergency physician. No teacher knew what they were getting into in being on the front lines of a once-in-a-century healthcare crisis. No teacher knew what they were getting into when that crisis turned into a political crisis where we decided to put our kids in the middle of our culture wars. And no teacher knew what they were getting into when they became the front lines along with our kids in the epidemic of gun violence. And to my mind, that is what this election is about. Are we going to pass gun safety legislation to protect our entire community? Are we going to make sure that public education is the trust that it should be, so that every student, every teacher, every family has access to the education that we deserve and that our community needs in order to thrive? And are we going to finally be sure that our community as a whole recognizes that you as public school teachers are the heart and souls of our communities, that what you do for our kids, our families, our communities are absolutely vital? Certainly, I wouldn't be a physician except for the wonderful teachers that I had. I have 3 kids. They would not be getting the education they deserve except for the teachers that they have. And the bottom line is that this election will determine whether public education will be the trust that it should be in our state. I promise you that if I'm elected, I will have your back. And I will be sure that our public school teachers are at the table making sure that their voice is heard for the education that our students deserve, our communities deserve, and that we will move forward together. So thank you so much, and let's go win on Tuesday.
I'm ready to go door knock. I'm telling you, I love our candidates. And the next candidate, whenever she comes to visit PFT, I always say to her, welcome home. Because when I met her, she came to work for the PFT, and we knew there was something special. And when we helped to send her to Harrisburg, which I'm very proud of, she kept it up. She is relentless, working for the working man, for education, and I'm always writing to her on Instagram, do you ever sleep? And I don't think she does. Senator Lindsay Williams, back home. She's back home.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you, everyone. Yes, this is home, and I wouldn't be in the Pennsylvania State Senate without the Pittsburgh Federation of Teachers, without every single one of you who worked so hard in 2018. And I actually, when I was trying to decide whether I was going to do this crazy thing, like run for Senate, I was standing in the back of this room when I decided that I was going to run. So it started here. And thank you. You all taught me so much. I came here with a background in labor and employment, but not education policy. And every single one of you took the time to educate me. Do what you do best, be teachers. And you've continued to do that while I've been in the state Senate. And thankfully now I'm the minority chair of the Senate Education Committee. And every time that there's a bill that comes up that attacks public education, I know who to call. When there's Senate Bill 1, literally Senate Bill 1 is a bill to privatize our public schools. When they ran a book ban, who did I call? A school librarian. I called a school librarian to talk me through the process of what our schools do to pick books and the thought process that goes into that and why we need to protect that for every one of our kids so that they could be safe and included in our schools. That was a school librarian that continued to teach me. And you know what? Now I'm getting attacked for being one of 4 votes against the school code bill. And you know why? Because I have drawn a hard line that was the largest school privatization bill ever, and I will be a no vote then, and I'm a no vote the next time they run it. You all have been here, and you know, we've got some fights to do. We need to get universal free breakfast and free lunch for kids next year in the budget. So thank you for what you do, and I promise you that if I'm the only no vote on school privatization, I will be the only no vote. Thank you.
Oh, we're so lucky. And last but not least, you've heard her name linked with champion. You hear that all the time. Champion for working people, champion for public education, champion. She fights and she never gives up. I heard at the AFL-CIO, if she's the only voice, she doesn't care. She keeps fighting and speaking up. She doesn't care if no one else will speak up. She's not afraid. And I love that about her. Summer Lee for Congress.
Let me start just really quickly by saying thank you so much to Lindsay, who is about to put me to shame. As a politician, they always say that we talk too much, and I try very hard to not do that, but I will tell you what, education is the one thing that if I'm gonna go on and on and on and on and on about something, it's gonna be this topic, because I cannot tell you how much public education shaped me and shaped my life and shaped my community and shaped yours and shaped our country. I am 100% a product of public education. I'm not a teacher, but I am who I am because of my teachers. When I grew up in the Mon Valley. I love you PFT and I love you Pittsburgh. I went to Woodland Hills and I love my school. I went to Woodland Hills and I would put on for us every single day. But I went to Woodland Hills High School where we were a desegregation case in the 1980s. My mom missed the cutoff to have gone to a school that was technically integrated. Public school, public education is the cornerstone of democracy. And I want to start with that because when we think about the attacks and the conversation we're having around education, we have to recognize what the root of those attacks are. And there's no better story than through my own. So when I was growing up, I was a very interesting kid, got into a lot of trouble, and I had a lot of energy. When I was in my public school, we had a music program. So I was able to channel my energy into music by playing the saxophone, even in the midst of nationwide cuts on music and arts. When I still had energy left after that, I then went to track practice and basketball practice from my coaches who were also my teachers who dealt with me all day. Because we are able to have those programs. I had free lunch because my mom was a single working class mother who worked multiple jobs. She relied on me to get on the school bus in the morning with bus drivers who kept us safe and made us feel important and special. I remember the first time I found myself in the education system when I was in Mr. Hickman's world history class and then his African American history class. I had made it in a school that was 50% black. I hadn't made it until my 10th grade year before I had a black educator. And it changed my life. I learned for the first time that my culture had something to contribute, not just to history, but to our future. And that changed my world view. I am so grateful for that public school teacher. When I was in the marching band, I remember my music teachers pushed me first to become a leader, pushed me through my comfort zone. I wouldn't be brave enough and courageous enough to stand before you right now and to have run for office if it were not for Ms. Hershrick and Ms. Priority. Public school has shaped me in every single way. But I want to say, there's a reason why we've always been fighting for public school education. Public school is the one weapon that can be used against us and our nation to either lift up or hold down populations, demographics, and communities. And it has been so since the entire history of this country. And we know that we are in a bit of an experiment here, right? Public education is an experiment. Can we take this entire country with all of its millions and millions of people on it and we educate the masses properly? That has been the experiment of public education in the United States. And we have had stumbling blocks all along the way because we know that it took until 1955 before black kids could have access to equal education. And yet even after that, we still had to fight. We know that the first efforts to privatize came when they didn't want to have black kids in schools with white kids. We cannot forget our history because if we do, then we are bound to repeat it. We're seeing those exact same efforts right now. Right now, as we have folks running for school boards all across this country that would say that we cannot teach proper history. People who would weaponize our schools and weaponize our classrooms against our trans and our LGBTQ kids. People who would keep out our disabled kids. There is a reason why education is at the center of every single debate that we have right now. And if we are smart, as I know you are educators, then we ought to make sure that it stays there because education is also going to be our liberator in this country. As we are fighting against our threats to democracy, the reason why we are seeing these defund education efforts is because we need an electorate. Republicans rely on an electorate that does not have access to the gifts that you are giving your students. They thrive and they feed on that. That's why we need to multiply you. That's why right now when we think about what is at stake, it's easy to make it a big, kind of bigger picture, large and looming picture, but let's personalize this right now. Let's personalize this right now. We saw kids sitting over there singing, and I know because I looked in their eyes and they look like me. There's a kid who was in that stage over there who was singing, and they are being saved by a public library right now. But yet in Norwin, they're trying to defund one. I know over there is a kid who is being saved because of a book that a teacher is putting in their hands, and yet they would ban them. We have to fight back. There's a kid who's being distracted because of policies that people who don't care that much about whether or not they survive, they don't have their best interests at heart. There's a kid who will be distracted because of that policy. Right now, we have educators who are afraid to show up in their classrooms because of the gun violence that has run rampant throughout American society, and yet we have policymakers who want to give you a gun. They'd rather give you guns than give you new books, than give you new desks, than give you supplies, than give you HVAC systems, than to get the asbestos out of your buildings. They would rather give you guns than to give you an equitable funding scheme. They'd rather give you guns than they would give you housing. They'd rather give you guns than they would give you health care. They would rather give you guns than give you transportation. They would rather give you guns than to give you a bridge. Do you get where we're going? They'd rather give you guns than protect your union. They'd rather give you guns than a living wage. We have a problem in American society, and that's going to play out on Tuesday, y'all. We got 6 days, and there are people who are fighting to wrestle the fabric of American society right away from us. We cannot get caught sleeping. So I know, and Brother Darren talked about the fatigue that we're feeling here, and I'm feeling that fatigue. Woo, I'm feeling that fatigue because, you know, if I know, I'm sorry that you all have to see me on the television so much. I'm tired. My campaign is tired, and I know the teachers are tired, and we all are. But I was talking last night at the governor's rally, and that's important to me, too, because it's important that we show up for the entire ticket, because I can tell you that education isn't just about the books and the buildings. Education for you, for our educators is also about whether or not we have an abortion ban nationwide. That doesn't help educators. If we can't afford college, that doesn't help our educators. This election is all interconnected. It's all interconnected. And every ad you see right now, they talk about public safety and crime because they want you to believe that the party of guns, more guns, actually cares about public safety. But you educators know how we do about something about public safety. We know that we can solve crime and public safety by funding our schools, by funding our transportation systems and health care, and providing opportunities for those kids, and making sure that those kids have wraparound services and trauma-informed care and health care, and making sure that they have bus drivers to get them to school every morning, and making sure that their classroom sizes are appropriate. We know what to do about public safety. So don't you let the party who would march on the Capitol when they didn't like the results of an election tell us about crime and public safety. We cannot be distracted right now. So I told you I was going to talk too much here because I need to leave with you all and instill in you all what we got to do in these next 6 days. Because if you're here, and I know a lot of your educators and your staffers and your colleagues couldn't be here today because God bless you all, you got school, or extracurricular activities, or families of your own to go home to. And as our First Lady talked about, and I never heard people talk about it this way, how hard it is to vote. Sometimes we shame people when they can't vote, and we forget ourselves what we go through in everyday lives. We forget ourselves how easy it is to get caught up in all of the things that we have to do in a society that isn't quite serving us to the best of its ability, even as we fight for it to be its better self. So in these next 6 days, and people have talked about it, I want you all to make a voter plan. Not just for yourself, but I want you to think about everybody in your life and everything you're fighting for. I know as educators, you are here for very many reasons. Some of you are here, all of you are here for education. Some of you are here for health care. Some of you are here for reproductive rights. Some of you are here as affirmative action is being debated at the Supreme Court right now. Some of you are here because of housing. Some of you are here because of transportation. Some of you are here for clean air and clean water. Some of you are here for union protections. Whatever it is that you are here for, I want you to think about that when you sign up for that shift to go and talk to a voter. And if you can't sign up for that shift, I want you to think about who in your life can you talk to right now. Pull your phones out and think, who have I talked to in the last couple of months about the election? Because it's time to re-up that conversation. Remind them, we can't take anything for granted. People will vote, and we have data that proves this. People will vote when we ask them to. So don't just do the Facebook posts. Call them, text them. When you're in the lunchroom, pull them to the side. Make sure that they know how they can vote. Make sure they know where they're going to vote, what time they're going to vote. Your day is going to be busy on Tuesday. Are you going to go before or after? Probably after. But all of those things, making that plan with people increases the likelihood they will vote. And remember what we are fighting for and who we are fighting for. If all of those things that we mentioned, I'm asking you to think about right now, if each one of those things is good enough reason for you to turn out, then I want you to fight like hell. We have to fight like hell through every ad, through all of the things that would make us feel discouraged. Push that aside. We got 6 days. And I know that I'm in a union room, so I'm going to do and end this with a chant because I don't even have an appropriate ending. But what do? When we fight? 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 Come on, I don't know anybody who fights like a teacher. So as my mayor would say, let's go get it.
We're ready to win. We're definitely ready to win. And before we go, and before you go, you better get to that food truck. And we got plenty of pizza, plenty of drinks. And before you go, we're going to hear, and we have one more wonderful speaker to send you out. And we have our staff jazz band. I told you we have so many fabulous, talented teachers. Our staff jazz band is going to take you out to those food trucks, and I want to introduce them to more of our wonderful music teachers, Alex Schallenberger, Chad Hill, Chris Snyder, Ray Strobel, and I'm Zach Young. So you give them a big warm, and I'm going to bring up Harold Grant, our parliamentarian and staff rep extraordinaire, to give us our final words of the evening.
Now, we could be here for the next 10 or 15 minutes listening to me. But you have to promise me that you're going to do 3 things. So do you want to stay for 10 minutes or 30 seconds? Number 1, make sure you vote. Whether it be in person or mail-in, make sure you vote. Number 2, you make sure all your family members vote. I don't care if you're not speaking to that person this week. You call them and tell them to get out and vote. And number 3, if you could find someone who has a hard time getting to the polls, get them there. Because this is important. Thank you all for coming. You got 3 things you need to do. Go home and do it. Thank you very much.